Hi, boys and girls. Anybody see Harrison? Harrison. Oh, my goodness. What are you doing on my head? All right. So we're going to get you down and put you in your spot. Here's where you're going to sit, okay? Good, baby. All right. So we were listening to Humphrey as he was trying to climb up and open up that book, the Sherlock Holmes book, on Mrs. Brisbane's desk. So let's take over. I rolled over to the book, propped it under the cover, and gave it a mighty push. It pushed right back, I guess, and I fell backwards. The pencil rolled off the edge of the desk. I hate to think what would have happened if I rolled over the edge of the desk. As I tried to catch my breath, I heard Og splashing wildly. Boing, 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 boing. I'm all right, Og, I called to him, but I can't get the book open. I'm not one to give up easily, but I was exhausted and I knew it wouldn't be long before school began. It hadn't been a successful night, but it would be even worse if I got caught outside my cage. So I slid down the side of the desk much faster than I'd climbed up, and I raced across to the floor and grabbed onto the long cord that hangs down from the blinds. Then came that hard part where I had to swing back and forth higher and higher until I was level with the top of the table. I let go and slid across the table past Og's tank, right up to the door of my cage. I made it, Og, I told my friend. Boing! He sounded relieved. I was planning on a nice doze when I got back in my cage. When I closed my eyes and was about to drift off, I remembered Mrs. Brisbane saying, "A clue is information that helps you solve a mystery. Sherlock Holmes is very good at finding clues." I didn't just remember her words, I could hear them in my tiny ears. I jumped up and raced to the side of my cage. Og, Mrs. Brisbane said to look for clues. Let's see if we have any clues to what happened to her. I grabbed the tiny notebook Miss Mac gave me a long time ago and a teeny tiny pencil that goes with it. I keep it well hidden behind the mirror of my cage. I opened it up and began to write. Clue number 1. Mrs. Brisbane didn't plan to be absent. The day before, she said, "See you in the morning." Clue number 2. Mr. Morales didn't know where Mrs. Brisbane was and why she was absent. He said they were trying to reach her. That's why he took over the class until they could get a substitute. Whatever happened to her was unexpected. Clue number 3. Mrs. Wright said she was sure Mrs. Brisbane would be back tomorrow. But later in the day, Ms. Mac and Mr. Morales both said she might be out for a while. So the story changed as the day went on. Clue number 4. Aldo seems worried that something happened to Mrs. Brisbane, and that makes me unsqueakably worried too. My paws started shaking, so I quit writing. I wondered if Sherlock Holmes was ever as worried as I was. Miss Swift unlocked the door to let Mr. E in. He had on a button with a big smiley face and a big cloth bag. Looked even fuller than it had the day before. Once my fellow classmates arrived, Mr. Morales came in. His tie for the day had a little red birds on it. "Class, your families were all notified last night about Mrs. Brisbane," he said. "As you know, Mr. E will be taking over." My friends all looked perfectly happy. But I was not. Mr. Principal Morales might have told all the families about Mrs. Brisbane, but nobody told me. Would Mr. E be taking over just for now, or would it be forever? And we'll stop there. What do you think, boys and girls? Listen to the clues.